Yo, what's going on, everyone? I have my long-awaited Artisan Zero versus my Xten control pad. And I was thoroughly surprised with how I performed with the Zero and overall its quality. It's been really good. I've used it a lot for the past 5 days, and I definitely have been using it for productivity and for gaming, long sessions and whatnot, a lot of aim training. And it's been an absolute blast. I love, 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 love the Zero. Every single person that says an Artisan Zero is an end game control pad, they are absolutely fucking correct. It is an amazing pad. I can't think of a single, like, I don't even want to change the size, and I prefer desk pads. But I'll explain why both are good and why I prefer the Zero over the X10, and I can also tell you why you might prefer the X10 over the Zero. So right off the bat, when I get into the surface, it's smooth. It is really nice. It is really, really nice. It's a lot smoother than the feeling of an X10 pad. But on certain mouse feet, like for Tiger Ice Feet, for example, on my super light, I don't feel any of like the bottom. It feels super smooth the whole way around. But on my X10 pad, I can definitely feel much more of the surface area, even though it's a bit smooth. It's a bit rougher than the Zero. It's a bit rougher, and I can feel that texture a lot more on my Tiger Ice Feet. I know before I said I didn't like Tiger Ice Feet specifically because it didn't provide as much stopping power as core pads, but as you can tell, my core pads on my XM1 I actually had to take off, and I started using my S2 again because I couldn't handle how much control it actually offered. I didn't think it would offer as much as it really does. So with like Tiger Ice Gates, it stops perfectly. Even on something light like a super light, I went to my S2 because it's a bit heavier, so I wanted more stopping power. But even on like something lighter like a super light, it feels perfect. It feels so nice. On an Xten pad though, the startup is definitely easier. It's a lot less friction, and the glide is a lot faster. But the stopping power isn't all there. It's not as much as a Zero. So the Zero, it's kind of the polar opposite. It's much more static friction, so much more like startup, and then the glide is a bit heavier, and then the stopping power is like a lot. It's a lot of stopping power. Um, in terms of like rubber backing, this thing hasn't moved on my Aqua Control Plus since I got it, which is really impressive because my Hien was actually the one moving on top of my other mouse pad. And I think it's because I washed it. That's pretty much the only conclusion I can come to. Even my Shinnekai didn't move. So I think it's just because I washed my Hien. So both rubber backings are perfectly good because in my XM video I said the same thing. It didn't move at all on top of another pad, which was really nice. In terms of like stitched edging, the X10 doesn't have any, but it's really annoying that it doesn't because if you wear a sleeve, it'll catch on the sleeve at like the very end. So if you move your arm like that, it'll catch on the sleeve. So say goodbye to hoodies and arm sleeves if you want to use an X10. But on a Zero, you can use it, but just know that vertical movement is just as difficult as an Xten pad. I watched Cinedote's video covering a PTFE arm sleeve, and he was saying that the reason he got it is because vertical movement on a Zero was really difficult, and now I can see why. What else? What else? What else? Sizing. It's not that big of a difference, actually. I thought it was going to be a really big difference, but it's about, I want to say like 20 millimeters. It's really not that big of a difference. I obviously still prefer an Artisan Zero because I prefer that like closer to 500 by 500. I think that's like the perfect like size for mouse pads. Um, what else? What else? Oh, both of like the logos don't affect glide, which is really nice. Both logos don't affect glide, which is nice. I have a list here. Oh, I would probably use Tiger Ice Feet over core pads on this pad specifically, just because like the startup and then like the friction from like when you're moving it is pretty difficult. So I would actually suggest Tiger Ice Feet on this pad for once in my life. I would prefer Tiger Ice Feet over core pads. But I'll get into why the Zero can be better than the X10. So the X10 It has like really good startup speed. Like it's really unnoticeable to startup. The glide is really smooth and pretty fast, but the stopping power is not where I want it to be. And then the zero is like the polar opposite. So it's a bit heavier on startup. It's a bit heavier on the glide, but the stopping power is exactly where I want it. It's perfect. So it's really dependent up to you. If you prefer the ultimate amount of control, I would go with a zero. If you prefer kind of almost like a hybrid, but not really, not as fast as a Xten, but not as slow as a zero, kind of in the middle ballpark there, I would go with an Xten pad. So it's pretty much up to you. Shipping, however, just get both on lethal if you are in the US. I got my zero on Agile cables, and I didn't realize this until like 5 days later. The reason it took so long for me is because Agile is based in Canada and it has to go through customs at USPS and all that stuff. It took me 17 days to get my zero to my house, which is really frustrating. The shipping process was very annoying. The people at Agile were very nice though. They're always active in their Discords, always talking to customers about shipping and stuff. But I just forgot that they were in Canada. I completely forgot that. I thought they were in the US for some reason. So if you're in the US, I would just get both pads from Lethal. It's a much easier process. Lethal shipping has always done right by me. They've always done really well. Zero issues, zero tracking issues with USPS and everything. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Much shorter video just because there's mouse pads are a lot harder to actually create content with because it's really hard to describe. It's not as easy as like, oh, the S2 shape is nice. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about both pads. I still prefer the zero. My next review should be my Hayate Otsu that I got in the mail. So I'm going to be benching my zero and bringing out my Otsu soon. And then I'm going to be adding clips as usual at the end of this video. Just to show like some flicks. I don't think I got any tracking clips, which is really unsurprising. But yeah, just wanted to get the video out there, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Outside, come down.
Yo, this MG82, bro, this thing is good.
It's cracked. Oh, behind you. On tower, I think.
What chunk?